This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today. In Queenstown, around 35 protesters surround a petroleum conference venue with climate crime scene tape and spend the day chanting. Rural property owners in Queenstown praise fire and helicopter crews who tackled a massive scrub blaze. And great weather made for a blooming successful Alexandra Blossom Festival at the weekend. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Simon Anderson. Protesters in Queenstown have set their eyes on the New Zealand Petroleum Conference venue. Around 35 protesters stationed themselves outside the front of the Millennium Hotel, where the conference was being held, loudly voicing their displeasure at the attendees.
Protesters making themselves heard and seen outside Queenstown's Millennium Hotel, the location for a two-day petroleum conference.
We're planning to colourfully and peacefully and non-violently make our voices heard and represent the people who could not make it today.
The conference's program includes an address from the Minister of Education and Resources, Megan Woods, as well as a lunch in partnership with billion-dollar oilfield service company Halliburton.
Most ordinary New Zealand citizens want a safe future. They want a safe climate. It is not okay to let these guys keep destroying the future for all of us.
Chief Executive of New Zealand's Petroleum Exploration and Production Association, Cameron Madgwick, says they have no objection to peaceful and safe protest, and he's been pleased with the behaviour this time.
In previous years we've had protest groups who have chained closed fire doors. So, we have to take this stuff pretty seriously. We understand that people have different views in relation to our sector and its role, but that can be no excuse for compromising the potential safety of people or for damaging property.
Madgwick says the protesters have so far not affected their two-day conference.
We've started on time, we've continued on time. We've been having the types of discussions and presentations that that we had planned for, particularly around the pathway to lower emissions, the role of our sector in doing that, what natural gas actually delivers.
Pen Warden remains unimpressed with the topics being discussed at the conference.
They're talking about digging up methane hydrates, ice gas. They're talking about more gas, using gas as a source for hydrogen. It is still a fossil fuel. It is still damaging our climate.
The conference includes a proposal to create a dedicated fund to invest public proceeds from new oil and gas developments. In Queenstown, The South Today.
Investigators are still trying to determine the cause of a fire which ripped through a property north of Oamaru last week. Two appliances from the Oamaru Volunteer Fire Brigade attended the scene north of Pukeuri around mid-morning on Thursday. The fire was brought under control around midday and fully extinguished about an hour later. The house was not occupied at the time and no other buildings or vegetation were threatened by the blaze. An investigation into the cause of the fire continues. Rural property owners in Queenstown are praising the fire and helicopter crews who tackled a massive scrub blaze on Saturday evening. The fire burned an area of almost 150 hectares and threatened homes in the remote area of Deep Creek, about 40 minutes drive along Skippers Canyon Road.
Flames along the side of the twisty Skippers Canyon Road as a large scrub fire raced across dry hillsides before being contained late on Saturday afternoon.
The fire's gone right up over the top of the ridge and down to the other creek on the far side, and it's burned approximately 148 hectares.
The fire started mid-afternoon on Saturday, possibly from embers of an earlier rubbish fire. 7 fire crews from the Queenstown area and 6 helicopters using monsoon buckets were kept busy battling the fire.
The fire was sort of brought under control in the hours between 3 and 7 last night, mostly a huge effort from the Queenstown brigades and assisting tankers from Luggett and Konoki, and of course helicopter with monsoon buckets.
Macbeth says these homes in Deep Creek could easily have gone up in flames were it not for the grass having recently been mowed and helicopters being available to help fight the blaze.
Mainly saved by the fact that the grass around them was mowed, and the residents were here to make sure they had hoses. And the swimming pool was a great help as well. Large quantity of water in use for appliances to use. But of course, without helicopters to assist with monsoon buckets, it would have been quite a different story.
12 firefighters remained busy yesterday locating and extinguishing hotspots around the area. In Queenstown, the South Today.
The new cruise ship season kicks off in Dunedin tomorrow with the arrival of the Mast Dam, which is capable of carrying more than 1,000 passengers and 500 crew. It will be the first of an expected 130 cruise vessels docking in Port Chalmers this year. Altogether, more than 250,000 passengers are expected to arrive over the summer, up 6% from last year. Volunteers will again step up and welcome the huge throng of passengers set to grace our shores this season. Each year, around 20 volunteers help to make the passengers feel welcome in the city. Duties include welcoming passengers at the terminal, providing written material and directing them to our tour operators or the eyesight. Great weather made for a blooming, successful Alexandra Blossom Festival at the weekend. A crowd of more than 8,000 revelled in the festive atmosphere of the 63rd edition to the annual event on Saturday as temperatures reached about 20 degrees.
Flamboyantly colourful floats and more queens than you can shake a tiara at, as more than 8,000 people soak up the fun and colour at the 63rd annual Alexandra Blossom Festival.
The gods have been kind, the crowd is just huge and getting bigger. Mum, Dad, the kids and the grandparents, everybody's having fun. That's what Blossom Festival is all about.
The festival's event manager, Martin McPherson, says it's a community-led staple event, one which he's been part of for nearly 2 decades.
I came here in '92 and worked through to 2001, and so this is number 19. Next year will be my 20th.
Many bands entertained the crowds throughout the day, and McPherson says having country music legends the Waratahs headlining the event was a major drawcard during a busy weekend.
Spirits wander every day.
We've got the Waratahs here as our feature act, which is a real coup. We've got a nice bit of steampunk happening, you know, but no, again, we try, you know, it works. So it's got the elements of the parade, the entertainment in the park, the food, the wine, mum, dad and the kids and the grandparents.
About 100 trucks and vehicles led the parade down Centennial Ave, followed by a procession of colourful handcrafted floats. One of the regular highlights of the event is the crowning of the Festival Queen, with 25-year-old Sophie Rogers crossing the stage to accept the title.
And the winner of the Alexandra Blossom Festival, the Princess for 2019, Sophie Rogers. Humble Pie Group, eat humble pies.
Martin McPherson says the event pumps more than $1 million into the local economy. In Alexandra, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. A Canterbury-based rider joins motor racing's elite at the top of the world. And speaking of motorsport, we catch up with high-flying Courtney Duncan at her old high school. See you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every reason reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
My key message is positive action, and I believe I have the leadership maturity to take this city forward to a brighter future. I have clearly spelled out how I will use values and culture to get everybody working for Dunedin instead of against each other. I'm Jules Raddick, and I want to represent you as Mayor.
Miller's Flat Bakery, proudly opening this Labour weekend after a long labour of love. The Restoration Trust has brought back to life this historic part of the main Central Otago transport route. Come see the only wood-fired bakery oven in New Zealand. Turn off at the Miller's Flat Blue Bridge and bring the whole family to enjoy some tasty fresh baked goods the old-fashioned way, before electricity. That's the Miller's Flat Bakery opening Labour weekend.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Namaya Nor, welcome back. The South Island has another world champion motorcycle rider. Canterbury's Hamish McDonald is the first New Zealand rider to win a World Enduro Championship. Seen here on the left, then crossing the right and pulling away in his winning ride, West Melton 20-year-old Hamish McDonald was soon to be all smiles as he was showered in champagne after winning the FIM 125cc Youth Enduro World Championship. The emotion is clear on his face as he wipes champagne and tears from his eyes, taking hugs from his teammates. McDonald joined the Enduro GP last year. He's already a multi-New Zealand Enduro champion. McDonald rides a Sherco with the support of Fabrizio Azalan and his team Sherco CH Racing. Motorcycling New Zealand's General Manager Virginia Henderson says it's been a golden few weeks for the country's riders. Newly crowned women's motocross world champion Courtney Duncan shared a simple message for family, friends and fans at her homecoming in Palmerston on Friday. After arriving in Otago recently, Duncan was given a civic reception with a march through the township and an event at her former school.
Cheering family members, school pupils and members of the wider community marched through the grounds of East Otago High School, waving signs and balloons to celebrate Courtney Duncan's world champion status.
Pretty excited. It's pretty cool to be back here at my old school. I mean, I spent all my schooling career here, so it's cool to come back and see the kids and show a little bit of support back to them.
Duncan won the title at the AFON circuit in Turkey earlier this month and was welcomed to her former high school with a spirited haka. She had a simple message for the people in her hometown: never give up on your dreams.
Pretty much just to continue to chase your dreams. I mean, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a world champion, and I went through some tough times to get there, and a lot of doubtful moments as well. You know, am I ever going to make it? And but I just kept going and held on to a little bit of faith, and I mean, we're here today and we can finally say I'm a world champion. So yeah, kids, just continue to chase your dreams and never give up on what you want.
Waitaki District Mayor Gary Kircher says it's Palmerston's first civic parade since 1954, when the Queen and Duke of Edinburgh visited. Receiving the honour means a lot to Duncan, who says the support of community and especially her family has kept her going.
Yeah, my family's, I mean, I couldn't ask for a more supportive family that streams from, you know, my parents, to my brother and sister, to my cousins, aunties and uncles, grandparents. I mean, everyone's so supportive, and it's cool. It's cool to have people like that behind you. Win or lose, those guys are always there for me.
East Otago High School Principal Marcus Cooper was delighted to welcome her back to the school that she left at the end of Year 11. At 23 years old and at the top of the motocross world, she says her interest in the sport began when she was very young.
Yeah, it was prior than that. I got into motocross pretty much as soon as I started primary school. I think I was like 6 when I started riding, so yeah, spent a lot of the time riding and growing up with the kids that come through the school, and yeah, it's cool to give back.
About 250 people attended the parade, which featured the North Otago Highland Pipe Band. The last time a New Zealander was Women's Motocross World Champion was in 2006 and 2007. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Outgoing Dunedin Mayor Dave Cull was interviewed recently by Otago Daily Times senior reporter Chris Morris. The three-term mayor says the Dunedin City Council should be doing more than just adapting current infrastructure to predicted sea level rise.
Well, it depends whether you, firstly, whether you're thinking about adaptation or mitigation. If you just stick to adaptation, Council has an enormous amount of infrastructure at risk from coastal erosion, sea level rise or whatever. So it is definitely Council's responsibility, and the houses and residents that rely on that infrastructure. So of course Council's got a responsibility, whether it's a landfill that's going to fall into the Fox River or whether it's, you know, this is our core job, looking after that. As far as mitigation's concerned, our community have made it very clear that, well, let's go back to the national situation. We've got a national commitment, legal commitment to the Paris Accord. That is going to have to be expressed around the country. Councils have been proactive about that, and we've been saying to central government, you need to set up a better framework for us, but it's what our community asks for, and it's going to be, in terms of the well-being of our community, of course we have a responsibility.
Can we make a difference though? I mean, if Dunedin achieves carbon net zero, does that matter? Yep,
Because you can make the same argument for everyone. If everyone says, oh well, we can't make a difference, there's only 1 million of us, there's only 100,000 of us, there's only this, we all sit on our hands.
Should we be in favour of gas drilling then?
I'm not. I believe that if fossil fuels, if a fair bit of what we already know about can't be used, or we get over the temperature rise that we can tolerate, then we better just get on and find alternatives. And whilst we, in a sense, subsidise or enable fossil fuel exploration when we shouldn't be, we're not giving any incentives to develop alternative energy sources.
And you can see more of the interview with the Mayor on odt.co.nz and Channel 39. After the break on the South Today, we have a look at a very colourful event over the weekend in Dunedin, and we check out the weather for the working week. It's going to be awesome. See you after the break.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, we bring you the best value. We have bought a massive selection of moleskins and we're passing on the savings to you. Buy one pair, save $25. Buy two, save $60, and we have a great deal on our knitwear. Look at it all, 25% off all our knitwear. And to go with the knitwear, what about a nice warm shirt? These are 25% off too. And while we're doing the 25% off, what about on the jackets? 25% off them as well.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So check us out for massive savings this winter.
Hi, kia ora. I'm Tony Hunter and I'm running for the Otago Regional Council. I've been a school principal here for 20 years and want the next generation to enjoy the quality of life I've experienced here in Otago. My particular areas of interest are water quality, transport, South Dunedin and Port Otago. Let's spend rates wisely and push central government to come to the party too. I'll bring common sense and open communication to the ORC. Vote Tony Hunter for the Otago Regional Council.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Hi, I'm Doug Hall. I'm standing for council in this election. I've been a councillor for the past 6 years. If I am elected in the next 3 years, I hope to push more in recycling and a circular economy for the waste of Dunedin City. My company recycled 35,000 tonne of product heading for the landfill in the last 12 months into roading, footpaths and construction industry. And if I get elected, I would be pushing to maximise the amount of recycling and minimise the amount to the landfill. I ask for your vote, Doug Hall, number 1. Thank you.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Thanks for staying with us. 2,000 runners and walkers took part in the 6th annual Night and Day Rainbow Run at Dunedin's Logan Park yesterday. Based on the Hindu Holi Festival, the event saw runners and walkers, both young and old, welcome spring in colourful style. Participants took part in either a 5-kilometre run or a family-friendly walk and run of just under 3.5 kilometres. Clean clothes were transformed as they encountered the 5 colour stations along the course. Volunteers doused the runners and walkers with blue, yellow, green, purple and red food-grade non-toxic powder, plus plumes of water from the fire appliance. Michael Smith of Sport Otago says he enjoyed organising the day and watching families and children having a great time. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. About 35 protesters surrounded a petroleum conference venue at Queenstown's Millennium Hotel with climate crime scene tape. Rural property owners in Queenstown are praising fire and helicopter crews who tackled the scrub blaze which burned almost 150 hectares. And organisers are pleased with the great weather which helped make for a blooming successful Alexandra Blossom Festival at the weekend. Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view of a downpour in central Dunedin this afternoon. Looking at the situation, strong, cold, west to southwesterly airflow remains for most of this week, with snow on the hills and showers at times elsewhere. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect grey skies and 13 degrees. Across to the northeast, where Nelson and Blenheim are due for a few showers and 14 degrees. Moving down to Canterbury, Kaikoura, you're due for rain and 9. Christchurch is also due to be wet with 10 degrees. Ashburton, you should expect a cloud or 2 and 9 degrees. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns, you can all expect fresh westerlies with cloud increasing. The Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore all reach 9 degrees. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes region, most across this area can expect moderate westerlies and cloudy skies. Queenstown and Wanaka should reach 11. Alexandra, you're aiming for 10 degrees. And Te Anau, you're set for showers and 8 degrees. Up to the northern towns, Timaru and Oamaru can look forward to moderate southwesterlies, showers clearing, but it'll be chilly with both Timaru and Oamaru only reaching 9 degrees. It should be slightly nicer further inland. Twizel and Amarama are in for moderate southwesterlies and becoming fine with 10 degrees for you both. In Dunedin, fine and cold tonight with an overnight low of 5 degrees. A period of showers tomorrow morning with very cold southwesterlies freshening and a few snow flurries possible on the higher hills. Plan for a high of 7 and a low of 6. More showers on Wednesday with strong cold southwesterlies. Snow on the hills with a high of 8 and a low of 4. And in Invercargill, wintry showers clearing tonight with an overnight low of 4. Mostly fine tomorrow with sunny periods and some cloud and fresh cold westerlies. Showers developing at night, aiming for a high of 8 and a low of 6. Wintry showers on Wednesday could bring hail and sleet, but clearing late in the day with gale southwesterlies easing slowly. A high of 7 and an overnight low of 4. That's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening and week. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.